on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day today. Now, having a look at Bitcoin, you can see that we've made pretty much 3 attempts now to really break and have a confirmed breakout above this $24,000 level. So far, we're not actually able to achieve that. Now, we did have a very nice candle close last month, finally got a green candle, and we've had a nice start to the first week of August. But zooming in right here, even though we have been able to hold above this for 3 weeks so far, this week is not over. And if we do fall back below this 200 weekly moving average, that could be, well, not so great for Bitcoin, right? So should we actually be getting excited just yet? That's what I want to talk about today, because you also notice that we have a little bit of confluence happening with this EMA ribbon. We're also being held down by this final EMA right here. And you could say 2 times now we have been rejected. Now, obviously, this is a monthly candle, so we have a month really ultimately to get back up in here. But thus far, could it be just a little bit concerning? Well, I want to talk about a lot of things. I want to talk about a massive pool of capital that is coming into the crypto space, and not only just for Bitcoin, but should we start paying more attention to things like Ethereum and the altcoins? Could that bottom finally be in for the ultimate, crypto space as a whole? And now, is it time to start changing our strategy? Because there are some VCs out there that are doing that right now. They're actually decreasing their Bitcoin exposure. Now, I don't want you to freak out about Bitcoin. We have a lot of good Bitcoin news, but it could be maybe time for that cycle to continue. And I am going to talk about that in the video. So if that sounds good to you, you know what to do. By the way, today's video is probably going to be a little bit longer than usual. We have a lot of content that we need to go over, a lot of things we need to discuss. And the first thing I want to actually point out, before we even start looking at any of the charts, making any trades or anything like that, I just wanted to point out the fact that the New York Fed survey of consumer inflation expectations has actually registered its biggest drop ever. So if I just play this clip real quick, it's about a minute, I think you'll understand why maybe we could get a little bit of that relief incoming in the next few months.
The New York Fed out with its consumer expectations survey and finds that inflation expectations registered their biggest drop on record. This series goes back to 2013. Inflation expectations plunged for gasoline, for food, and for home prices. Here are the numbers. Down 0.6 on the 1 year at 6.2%. That's the 1 year ahead inflation expectations. That's still too high, but it's come down. 3 year at 3.2%, down 0.4, and the 5 year down by 0.5 point. That's the one I think the Fed focuses most on and is most concerned about, and going to be heartened to see it moving towards its 2% target. Expectations also improved for household income, for the job market, but declined a bit for spending, John. So this is something that I think the market wants to see, gives the Fed a little breathing room, and also shows how tied these expectations are to gasoline.
So all right, now on to the fun stuff. Now on to the trading. And by the way, guys, if you are not subscribed to this channel, make sure that you get subscribed. I do try to bring you these updates when I feel that they are important. And you can see right here, what we ultimately have, in my opinion, from what I'm looking at right here, is, basically you had this triangle, right? You had this ascending triangle right here, and we did keep hitting this resistance. We kept hitting this resistance, right? But once we finally broke through, what happened? It acted as support. We had a fake out back into it, and we got supported on the heart line, right? So ultimately, what I think we're doing right now is something very similar, slightly different structure. But if you look right here, we're also doing an ascending triangle, right? Where we couldn't break above this level. Once we did, which we haven't really truly had a confirmed breakout yet, you might see something similar, right? Where we come up here, we hit that $25,700 level. We may come back down and, maybe retest, somewhere right here around the $23,000 area, and then potentially continue to the upside. Now, obviously, we do have this ascending spider line right here, very, very important. So, really, ultimately, that level of around 26,573 would be the sort of highest short-term level I'd be looking at for Bitcoin. But what you'd want to do is look for that confirmed breakout above pretty much $24,040. And if we did have that retest, that would essentially be where I would be looking to put in my long. And if you guys are interested in taking that trade, I highly recommend BitGet. I do have a tutorial that I put out. And remember, if you want an extra $2,700 bonus on top of the $4,000 bonus, make sure you use the special link below in the description. But what is interesting, though, and this is something to pay close attention to, is not only are we seeing Bitcoin actually have a bit of a stall out, but we're also seeing traditional markets. The S&P right now is also having a little bit of an issue with the resistance. So I would pay close attention to stocks as well and see if all of the markets as a whole can actually push through to the upside as we are seeing the dollar falling out of its parabolic trend. But the important thing to remember is that we are still in fact in a downtrend, and really until we start getting up, to this downward sloping trend up here and really start pushing on those levels, you're not really fully back in bullish territory. Now, something just short term that could be very bullish is just simply flipping this major support, which started way back in January of 2021 into a new support again. Now, we haven't even gotten back up there yet, so we don't know, but I would assume that it would be very, very hard to break above that, especially on the first try. And you can see we're having trouble just simply breaking out of this little blue zone down here. We still can't even touch this sort of Terra Luna, wick that we had here. The good news is we are above the overall heart line, but it is still in a downtrend. So you do want to get above those levels, and it's even coinciding with the CME futures, which doesn't trade on the weekend. So there's obviously confluence happening right here. Big levels. We want to break above that $24,000 level. We want to hold above that level, and ideally, we would really like to see ourselves back up here at around 28,805, which, by the way, would close the CME futures gap, right? So I am still quite positive on Bitcoin in the next few months, and I obviously have been paying attention to, things like what could be coming out. We do have the CPI and the PPI data, but remember we actually spoke about BlackRock, and like Crypto Lark pointed out, he said 28.5 trillion assets under management between the top managers globally that offer access to Bitcoin. A 0.15% allocation would buy every single Bitcoin sitting on exchanges right now. Number will go up, right? And if you actually look at what a lot of these guys have been saying, for example, JP Morgan, although should we trust JP Morgan? Well, that's up to you. You make your own decision. But they do believe that crypto as a whole has found the floor. So in a note that actually went out to investors, Kenneth Worthington basically said that a lot of excitement, now here is kind of the kicker here, is really coming up around the Ethereum merge. So really, you've had these, so you are going to have those, BlackRock and all those people having access to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin still is where some of these bigger players, the sovereign wealth funds, etc., are going to end up putting their money in. But actually, a lot of the guys that were dabbling their toes in, or some of these VCs that have been around for a couple of years, they are actually looking into Ethereum now. So anyway, they go on to say, and I do want to continue talking about this, but they say it appears that the crypto markets have found a floor despite trading volume still being depressed. What has helped, we think, has been more limited new contagion from the collapse of Terra Luna. However, we think the real driver has been the Ethereum merge and positive data following the launch of the Sepolia testnet in early July and Ropsten testnet in June, indicating that the merge is viable in 2022. Now, let's have a quick look, really quick, at whether or not, first of all, the bottom could be in. And then we'll look at, is Ethereum going to be the big driver? And should we be more focused on Ethereum in the short term? Well, we did get our green dot over here on Market Cipher, and we do know that we have all the conditions met for a weekly potential reversal, right? We have the green dot. We have the money flow in the red. We have the RSI oversold, and we have the VWAP moving back into the positive. This is exactly what we had back here, and that was the bottom. The same thing for December 17, 2018. That was also the bottom, and currently we have had that signal flash again. That's only one of about 10 different signals that we've seen. We've seen the pi cycle bottom indicator. We've seen miners capitulating, right? We've seen a lot of different indicators that could be telling us that the bottom is in fact in. And by the way, guys, if you do want to check out Market Cipher, you can, unfortunately, it's not free. I didn't make this. This is not my indicator. I just use it. But if you do want it, I do have a link below for that as well. And obviously, if you guys want to learn how to trade, check the tutorials below as well. But what we were having in the beginning of this week, the overall crypto market cap, remember, we're not talking about Bitcoin, we're not talking about Ethereum, we are talking about the everything as a whole, and you could see that we were breaking out of this potential trend. Now, will it just be another fake out here? It could be, guys. I mean, this is the more significant trend, this green line up here, but if we were to go up straight today, we would need another $0.62 trillion to get to that level. So we're not quite there yet, but it could be signaling that it could be time to be accumulating some of these altcoins. Now, not financial advice, and I'm not going to tell you which coins to buy. If I see anything out there, I'll let you guys know. But you can see right here, just in the past week, we've had 44%, 42, 29. Look at these gains that we've had versus what we've seen in Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? So we have seen that potential flow into it. And I did point out that Bitcoin was sitting dangerously low on its Bitcoin dominance. Now, generally, when we tend to get down to these levels, we do have that bounce. And, investors do flood back into Bitcoin. But is this one of these sort of situations where maybe we do continue to go to the downside? I mean, can we even really use the whole Bitcoin dominance metric anymore, right? Does it still work with the amount of coins that are still getting flooded into the crypto space? I don't know. But what I can tell you is that if we do actually have this support, starting to act as resistance, you are, according to, history, according to Bitcoin dominance and what usually happens, you're going to see altcoins go on a bit of a run. Now, is it going to be a massive, explosive 100x altcoin season? Probably not, but it could be time to start accumulating, and you might be able to get some gains because, as you can see right here, this legacy trend, which either acts as resistance or as support, right, for Ethereum versus Bitcoin. Guys, look what we just did. We officially have bounced off of it and are attempting to hold it right now, even though it is kind of pushing down on it with a red candle. This could be the explosive move that everyone has been waiting for, and Ethereum could really, really, really start to take off, and, the altcoins could move with it. Or Bitcoin dominance could just do what it always does and goes back up, right? I don't know. I'm not a crystal ball reader, but I will tell you that something big is coming, and it's either going to be for Bitcoin and the altcoins, probably not for both of them at the same time, given what we're seeing in the charts right now. So it's not just what I'm seeing in the charts. You also had Pantera Capital CEO Dan Morehead said that he thinks that the crypto market has also passed the bottom of the cycle and is about to start rebounding. He says in a new interview with Real Vision CEO Raul Pal, which I would love to play you the video, but unfortunately the video is for members only, so I have not paid for this, but I'm just telling you this is what they said in the video. So they went on to talk about how they were super, super heavy in Bitcoin in May, June, and July, because generally when you're in these very volatile, hardcore downtrends, yes, Bitcoin gets hit, but it doesn't usually get hit as hard, right? If Bitcoin falls 5%, altcoins fall 5, 10, 20%, right, in a downtrend, and vice versa, right? When we're going up, that's when you want to get into those speculative micro caps. Well, now he says he believes it's time for a different strategy. He says Bitcoin's kind of like the treasury equivalent of our space, and everything is kind of high beta to that. In times of stress, Bitcoin does go down less than the micro caps. I actually think we're past the bottom if we're in, at a minimum, a consolidation level, and potentially the new rally, which I do think we're in, could be about to play out. And in that event, he says you want to take that risk curve. You want to be in Ethereum. You want to be in DeFi and a bunch of other things. And so we've now taken our Bitcoin exposure way down, and we're back into all the other sectors that can perform well if we're in a bull market. Now, he says, obviously, if we're wrong and we do have another leg down, well, then we're going to be wishing that we stayed in Bitcoin all along. But, the other things have higher beta, basically, he says. So essentially for me, the way that I feel is, you guys know that I still maintain massive portfolio, exposure to Bitcoin. I know it's boring. I know that, you can make a lot of bigger gains, but, I see some people, they get excited. And this is like my warning on top of this, because yes, it could be time to start getting into these, but I wouldn't do any crazy allocations. You deal with your own risk versus reward. That's on you. For me, I generally only do about 1% at most into any given altcoin at any time. And I never really go higher than 10% of my portfolio. I still keep it massively Bitcoin heavy, and I have scaled into Ethereum, obviously, but, for the most part, I still keep it, majority Bitcoin, then followed by Ethereum, and then very small percentages of these altcoins, because the thing with the altcoins is, you could put $5,000 into an altcoin. I don't know what money people have, but, you could lose all of that money, or the altcoin could do 100x. You see what I'm saying? So even though, yes, the risk is, the reward is higher, you start going in with half the portfolio, 75% of the portfolio, you could make the greatest possible decision of your life, but you can also lose almost all of your money, because we have seen lots of altcoins do tend to go to zero. For example, and there's external factors too. Here's one: Torn token dives as the US bans smart contracts. So, they were, this smart contract platform, Tornado Cash, they were saying, it's being used for money laundering and all this other stuff. And, that was an external sort of factor that drove the token, basically crashing. Will it recover? Possibly. But, Terra Luna, that was a blue chip. Look what happened there, right? So just be careful with those altcoins. But ultimately, if you do want my opinion, we could be looking to form maybe a bit of a double bottom here. You can see we did have a nice bounce out of this blue zone, a little bit of resistance, coming up in this area. Definitely looking to kind of have a little bit of resistance around 489 billion area for the coins, not including Bitcoin and Ethereum. But for the most part, what I could see happening is something like a double bottom, and then, the altcoins do continue to take off. And it's not just that, but you also have to pay attention to the narratives, right? Like, what is the hot topic, right? So you had DeFi, that was the big thing, but then what did we do? We had yams and potatoes and pickles and all these ridiculous DeFi platforms that were coming out, right? And then, NFTs, which I still think NFTs are going to be big. I think they are big. I think in some sense, I think people get a little excited over them. I'm not going to pay millions of dollars for a picture. Like, that's just not something I'll do. I collect pinball machines, and I have cars, and and vintage, all kinds of stuff. I have actual limited edition posters and prints, but that's just me, But I'm a digital guy. I'm a crypto guy. I think it'd be cool to back the physicals up with a digital proof, or to use a deed or something like that. Kind of getting on a tangent here, but so anyway, flavors of the week, metaverse, right? And you've kind of seen that ESG push lately. In fact, I'm going to be totally honest, I actually just bought my first fully electric vehicle 2 months ago, and I never thought I would do it, but I was like, maybe I should, contribute to this. I still have my gas and I have my hybrid, but now I also have an electric vehicle as well. And, for example, if you guys have, followed STEPN, so obviously you have Chainlink saying it's not going to support Ethereum's proof of work forks ahead of the merge. So they're saying, no, we're going the proof of, stake route. And then you also have STEPN. They just announced this recently. They're partnering with Line. They say they believe that this collaboration will help them to better engage with Line users, and in return help Line promote a healthy lifestyle and carbon offsetting ESG initiatives to its global users, right? Now, when it comes to Bitcoin, I am of the camp that Bitcoin should remain proof of work, okay? Bitcoin is very good at being the digital gold. That's what it does. It's verifiable. It's virtually non-hackable. And how would you hack? You'd have to do a 51% attack, which it would end up costing you so much money. It wouldn't be worth the amount of money that you'd have to spend to actually attack the network, right? So it is the safest, most secure network on planet Earth. But with Ethereum moving to proof of stake, although technically it does make it similar to the situation we already have right now, where the people that have the money are kind of the ones in power. But you can see all the different things that you can actually do with Ethereum. For example, you can have these apps, you can have these smart contracts, right? So Ethereum's sort of value proposition is very different from Bitcoin's value proposition. And I often find a lot of people arguing over Bitcoin versus Ethereum, when in reality, they have very different use cases, right? So I think it's good in a balanced portfolio to actually have both of them, right? And actually, guys, while we're talking about STEPN, I did want to just update you on something, because they actually just put this out yesterday, and they're finally going to be launching their GMT earnings plans. So, they're going to be launching the GMT earnings, but these are their plans. But remember, we had spoke about them, way before it had even come out, and it ended up launching itself to one of the top spots, during the peak, and it still kind of is up there right now. But essentially, if you've been using the app right now, you have the GST token. Well, now they're going to enable the GMT earning, and the reason that they're doing this is that they say we can better give back to our community. There will also be a dynamic balance between the GST earnings and the GMT earnings side, where either side doing well can provide benefit to the other side, and it's going to create a virtuous cycle because of all the external possibilities of STEPN as a super app being reflected by GMT. They go on to say our continuous efforts to drive more utility to GMT and the additional demand for in-game assets. Now, the reason that I'm bringing this up is because it wasn't the first time that we had seen a company try to do something like this, right? But I think that as sort of the general population gets familiar with cryptocurrencies and understands a little bit of blockchain, maybe you don't have to be a genius on it, and you start to realize how you can actually use these applications in the real world, like encouraging people to, for example, work out, right? And then you get a token for doing that. Like, the concept, we've heard it before, but the implementation now has really made it where the average person, can actually use it and have accessibility and success with the product. So this is why when you think about things like Ethereum, or actually in this case, Solana, you don't want to necessarily put all your eggs in just the Bitcoin basket, but you also want to be careful investing in these other cryptos, right? But anyway, getting back to this, why this could be cool potentially is it's kind of like you get in early, you might be able to get those better deals because similar to how the hash rate in blockchain networks work, you have the GMT earnings power changing dynamically every 5 minutes. And essentially, this is going to diminish logarithmically and halving every 3 years, right? So in a nutshell, guys, I'm not going to go into everything. There's a lot about like the sneakers, the different types of series. I'm not going to go into all that. That's more of like the in-game app playing. But it is things like this that I do believe, we are finally sort of getting that use case. We're seeing what Ethereum can do, not just with DeFi and pickle coins and stuff like that, but actually with people straight up, getting out and, moving around. So ultimately everyone's consuming something in the game. They're getting the GST, they're being encouraged to give it back. And then these GMT earners are, being fed, and then the GMT earners are buying up the sneaker floor, which is helping the GST earners creating a virtuous cycle. So definitely something to have a look at, guys. Seeing things implemented like this, seeing real world use cases and very funny, sneakers and running. But this is kind of like what the real world, is interested in, these types of apps and these very sort of simple to understand concepts of getting involved in crypto. All right, so moving on to some other crypto news, kind of got hung up on the whole STEPN thing, but like I was trying to say, the cool thing about it is it's not just where, you have to make an investment or you have to be someone that's truly interested in investing, right? Or trading. You could just be someone who just wants to get fit and run, but then also get some earnings and play a fun game while you're doing it, which probably represents more of how the average kind of person is in the world. So that is the end of that. I digress, but I want to get back to just Bitcoin as a whole because I still think that that's sort of the ultimate global driver. And according to Central Bank of Brazil chief, Bitcoin is a major financial innovation that has given rise to new vital technologies and products. He highlighted the cryptocurrency's role in paving the way for the development of Web3 concepts in simulating research and other studies on CBDs. And actually, during a recent interview, the head of the central bank also discussed the shifting landscape of digital currency, adding that one of his organization's primary goal is to add intelligent features to Bitcoin. So kind of just going to throw a little wrench in the gear because there is still that camp that wants to put all these things on Bitcoin, that wants smart contracts and, intelligent features and things like that on Bitcoin. It would be cool, I guess. Personally, I like Bitcoin for what it is. I like what it does. But, some people, they want to take that route. So there's always that possibility. But right now, currently, a lot of people are using things like Ethereum, Solana, Elrond, right? Things of that nature. So, and also just want to end on one quick, I know we got a lot of stuff we're going over today. HODLNOT paused their withdrawals. They put this out and they said, we regret to inform you that we will be halting withdrawals, token swaps, and deposits immediately due to recent market conditions. We have also withdrawn our MAS license application. And once again, people are freaking out about these indefinite halt on withdrawals. Another, project, trading service, whatever they are, I don't even really know what they are. I never used them, is down. So again, guys, if you are not actively trading, take your coins off the exchange. There's no reason for you to keep them there. It's not to say that, these malicious things will happen or that these companies are trying to hurt people. It's just a safety precaution, right? And, this is obviously why even when I made my BitGet tutorial, I still said, I wouldn't keep all my money on BitGet, although they did recently just put an insurance fund, which I do respect that. That's pretty cool. They are looking to actually cover in the event of a loss. But nevertheless, guys, if you are using it, stay with a reputable exchange like BitGet. If you want to check out my tutorial, it's popping up over here in a few seconds. But like I said, major takeaway, get the coins off the exchange, get them on a hardware wallet unless you are trading, which if you guys are interested, you guys know I do have lots of tutorials. Everything is for free on this channel. I don't have any paid groups or anything like that. If you want to support the channel, you can use my links below. I get a little bit of a kickback. You guys also get bonuses, but obviously everything on this channel is free. I love you guys. You're awesome. Let me know about what you think. Do you think that the tides are changing? Do you think it's time to start getting into these speculative altcoins? Could be. Maybe worth taking that 1%, 2% sort of smaller position, in the event that we're wrong and Bitcoin continues to go lower. Okay. But at this point, a lot of them, 90%, 95%, some of them even at 99% discounts. That is the risk versus reward that you have to answer. But, guys, that is the name of the game, right? That's how if we all had the exact answers and we all knew exactly what to do, we'd all be billionaires and I wouldn't be here and you wouldn't be watching, right? Because we would be perfect traders, and that's not what it's about, right? It's about having your wins outpace your losses, right? So thank you so much for coming back to the channel. I love you guys. You're awesome. Appreciate you sticking around. A little bit of a random video today. A lot of different things on my mind. You know, crypto is definitely still evolving. There's lots of things changing, and you always want to stay on the tip of your toes. You know, you want to be able to have that sort of, Darwinism approach to it, right? You want to be able to morph and go with these things. Sometimes you have these crazy trends, these meme coins, these Doge coins, right? And they're stupid, but you can make money, but you have to know when to get in the trend, when to get out of the trend, and what is the long-term HODL position versus the short-term speculative play. And that's what we're going to be focusing on if we do, in fact, enter into this potential mini alt season in the next couple months. I'll let you guys know. But that's it for me. This video has been long enough. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Hope you're having a wonderful and awesome day today. And do make sure, if you do want to learn how to trade, check this video popping up right here, right now. My name's K-Dub. This is Crypto Zombie. Until next time, stay crypto. And of course, peace out.